Well, to get more insight on the economic turnaround that Donald Trump was claiming there, we can speak now to Senior Fellow at the Belgium-based think tank Bruegel, Nicolas Véron. Thanks so much for your time. Mr. Véron, can I start by asking you, the economy in the United States, how does it compare this year to last year?
Well, the economy is sending ambiguous signals into the United States because there is a lot of uncertainty created by the Trump administration policies, primarily tariffs and migration policies, but also attacks on the independence of the Fed and more generally the rule of law. But at the same time, there are very powerful drivers of the economy. First, the economy was doing quite well in the previous years, under the Biden administration, in the recovery after the COVID-19 pandemic. And there is this AI investment, a very powerful wave of investment for artificial intelligence, which is not yet something that can be analyzed very clearly in terms of business models and future revenue for companies. But those companies, the big tech companies, are investing a lot, and that provides a powerful uplift to the US economy. So the indicators are unclear if you want to project them in the near term. There's a lot of uncertainty in the business community. There is also some fear, but there are also very positive drivers, which makes a very complex hybrid picture.
Okay, interesting. When it comes to the average American, let's say, and their wages, their spending power, how are things looking today?
Americans clearly struggle with affordability issues. So inflation is a big concern. The cost of living is a big concern. Some things that the president obviously was reluctant to acknowledge in his State of the Union speech yesterday. There has been there's no unemployment in the U.S. Actually, the immigration crackdown of the Trump administration is reducing unemployment, but employment, the number of jobs that the economy generates, has not increased a lot since the beginning of the Trump administration policy. So here again, a mixed picture.
When you talked about the tariffs, I mean, we heard Donald Trump say it's saving the United States. Overall, how do you see, you spoke of the uncertainty of them, overall, how do you see the impact of Donald Trump's tariffs?
Well, there are very few people in the economics community who would defend those tariffs as a sensible economic policy. At this point, there is a huge legal mess created by the Supreme Court decision, or rather by the use by the Trump administration last year of an authority they didn't have to impose tariffs. So they will have to reimburse a number of business, and it's very unclear how that impacts the fiscal situation, the sustainability of public finances in the US. So this is generating massive uncertainty. The cost of tariffs is borne by US constituents, by US companies and US consumers. This is clearly not something that's helping the economy.
And when you look at, you mentioned there artificial intelligence, what do you think the main sectors are in the United States for its economy now and going forward?
Investment is clearly driven by artificial intelligence capability creation. If you remove that from the investment figures, investment in other sectors is actually quite weak. It is clear that artificial intelligence will be transformative. It is not very clear how and what kind of business models and productivity gains it will generate. So at this point, we're still in the learning phase. The use cases of artificial intelligence are still being, innovated and experimented as we speak. It's very difficult at this point to outline exactly how the long-term or even medium-term transformative impact will play out, even though there is little doubt that it will be transformative because the power of this technology, the potential of this technology is viewed by most observers as very significant.
And very finally, you mentioned the immigration and the impact on employment figures, but on the economy in general, studies normally show that migration is a good thing for our economies.
Exactly. Migrants provide labor. They also provide energy and capability also for innovation. The US innovation machine is critically reliant on migrants. So if you remove migrants, which the Trump administration is doing forcefully, that diminishes unemployment, but it's actually very bad for the economy. You have less economic potential, fewer workers, and less innovation. So the consequences will unfold over time, but this is certainly not something that supports the US economy.
And just before we leave you, actually, overall, do you see the US economy on an upward or downward trajectory, given also the international relations that the US president currently has?
You have all these contradictory crosswinds that we discussed. The US economy has enormous innovative and entrepreneurship potential, so that remains at this point. If you're in Silicon Valley, you still feel the vibes that have been associated with that region in terms of innovation and new companies as before. So the question is whether the Trump administration's policies will damage this potential over the medium and long term. At this point, it's too early to be sure.
Nicolas Véron in the Bruegel Institute, thank you so much indeed for your time and bringing us your insight. Very much appreciated.